Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Bundesliga show. We are here for some more fantasy football recordings this evening ahead of another bumper weekend of Bundesliga action. Double bubble tonight. We've got Ultan joining us for not one but two shows here to help out. Welcome back, Ultan. Happy New Year to you. How are you?
Yeah, doing the best. Happy New Year and Friday New Year to everyone watching. Yeah, it's a double pack tonight, so it should be interesting. Hopefully, I can live up to
Absolutely.
room predictions.
Yeah, the great man himself is away on business or pleasure, and yeah, I'm sure he'll be having a great time. He'll be sure to let us all know about his adventures when he returns. But yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into action this evening. Ultan has very kindly presented us with his budget, mid-price, and premium picks for match week 18 of the Bundesliga for another really big fantasy football weekend. Hopefully, the midweek English Avoca didn't catch out too many people. I know it almost caught me out, and that early kickoff as well really was a tight fix for me getting my star players in. As well, but we're back to normal weekend, Friday night football, and all the rest. So we're looking forward to going through it all. So we'll get stuck in just a tick. Just before we do, be sure to make sure that you leave a like on the show, comment along. Let's get those questions rumbling straight away. Me and Ultan will do our best to get through them for you in about half an hour because we got predictions straight afterwards at 1:30. So we'll do our best to be nice and prompt with all of that. And of course, sub to the channel. So less of that, more of the good content that we want to be giving you this eve. So I'll get the picks from a defensive point of view now are on screen that Ultan has put together. So over to your fine self, Ultan, to run us through your thinking behind those three picks.
Yeah, it's a tricky kind of round of fixtures when you have Bayern against Leipzig. It doesn't make it too easy to pick them, but I've gone with my own clubman here, Daniel Svensson, to start us off. I just like the price point really, and he was rested midweek, so I'm sure a lot of fans, eager fans of the FBL game, will be kind of watching the X minutes, and he only played 23 minutes against Bremen. He hasn't had maybe the best of seasons compared to what he had in the second half of last season when he was a pretty key fantasy asset towards the end. But I still kind of back him to do well, and St. Pauli have a bit of a weakness down their right side, which he should be attacking. I think he should be fairly nailed on for a good 60, 70 or 80 minutes, if not more. That's kind of the cheapest option or cheapest route into the Dortmund defence as well at the moment. If I was to tip someone else in the kind of Schnäppchen or budget price range, maybe Kulirakis of Wolfsburg or Da Costa of Mainz, pretty nice fixtures coming up, and a good game at the weekend, which might be helpful from that point of view. Then going into the mid-priced options, now it's a slightly upper end of the mid-priced end, but it's Rasmus Christensen. I just really like his kind of overall balance. He's got brilliant dual stats at the moment, strong numbers, both in attack and defence. And he obviously netted a goal against your very own VfB, sorry, rather on the weekend, midweek even. So he's got that goal threat too, which I do like. He's been averaging about 204 points per game and got 243 in the last game despite losing. And even against Dortmund, I think he averaged around about 160 that game, which isn't too bad for a draw. I mean, you can see the 3 goals, and it still kind of underlines his kind of stats from duels alone, and even a little bit of attack and link up as well. And then the premium option this weekend is kind of fairly straightforward. It's Maxi Mittelstadt. He's quite expensive, but again, I kind of like the idea of switching potentially. Well, I'm thinking of it as Raum to Mittelstadt this week. Raum obviously gone up against Bayern Munich, makes it a little bit trickier for him, whereas Mittelstadt has the pleasure of going up against Union, who are, I believe, the lowest average possession in the Bundesliga, about 38% per game. So should be a fun time for Stuttgart fans at home to a team that seldom likes to keep hold of the ball. Yeah, he's been fantastic lately. I think in his last game, he hit around 170 points from duels alone in the last 2 games or so. And that doesn't even really look at his attacking output. He's been fantastic. He's on penalties occasionally as well. And they've got a pretty good fixtures coming up too. I think it's Gladbach at home, Freiburg away, St. Pauli, Cologne, and Heidenheim in the next few. So you could easily keep him as a long-term option as well.
Yeah, precisely that. Some really good picks there. So yeah, thank you for those, Ultan. By all means, guys, get your questions in into the live chat. I don't think there's been any on social media, but I will double check. Whether it's defensive, midfield, or forward, just bang them in and we'll answer them as soon as we can do. Just a couple of quick people just to pick out. Just JCC 172. Good to see you back in the chat. Jeff as well. Thank you for watching with us and all checking in. Jeff already has a question, so we'll come to this before we move on to the midfielders. So picking this up, general question about rotation concerns. Any key players to worry about? Hopefully we'll be able to answer this one for you, Jeff, as we go through the show. I guess when you refer into that, we're mainly talking about maybe the midfielders and forwards, but whilst we're on defenders, Ultan, I guess some of those premium picks, the likes of, Grimaldo, and Co, Raum, especially as well, maybe some of those higher end players, with the English Avoca, with teams obviously being involved in Europe. What are we thinking with any potential rotation risks?
No, I think your fears should be pretty safe this week. The only player I would note that is definitely out is Edmund Tapsoba. He came back from AFCON and whatnot with an injury. So I don't think he's going to feature on the weekend, regardless of the break against HSV, which was called off during the week. But aside from that, all your kind of stock key players, like your Muheims, Vuskovic, Grimaldo, Mittelstadt, Raum, any of the Bayern defenders all should be pretty fine. I'd imagine Upamecano has a good chance of playing the full game too, because he got a rest midweek. So in terms of defensive options, all the kind of main premium assets should be fairly safe this week.
Perfect. Thank you for that question, Jeff. And we'll try and pick that up as we go through midfielders and forwards as well for you. Question from JC. Still, do we need to keep Grimaldo or switch to Maxi Mittelstadt? Ultan, you've already kind of presented your case, an argument for Mittelstadt. Obviously, the fixture that's coming this weekend, the fixtures to come, full stop. So not only is he a good switch now, he is a good long-term planning player. And with the way that the VFB are playing, and yeah, like you say, he's on penalties. He scored definitely the last two. So there should be absolutely no reason why he's taken off them. And Grimaldo, Leverkusen obviously didn't get off to the best start. He still scored, obviously, from the spot against VFB, and then they, have a postponement. So from his own sense, he's still playing in that really attacking position. But would you say that that's a sound switch or still a bit risky? Try and fit them both in, perhaps.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. If you hang around for the prediction show after this, I'll give you my insights to the whole game. But I think this is quite an interesting match. Without going into too much detail, Hoffenheim are playing pretty well. Leverkusen maybe haven't had the sharpest start, plus the postponement. In terms of missing out, I think Grimaldo's fine. The midweek break has given him a full week to recover. He played the first game in 2026 as well. So personally, I'd keep Grimaldo and I'd probably move around if I had to choose. But if you do predict Raum to have a good dual points up against Olise, that could be maybe your reason to stick for Raum as well. But personally, I probably wouldn't do Grimaldo to Mittelstadt.
Yeah, very good. Thank you for that question as well. We will move the dial on to our midfielder picks. So we have now got them on screen for you. Budget, mid-price, and premium. I can't get over this price of budget when I was just checking just now. Crazy, but yeah, Ultan, back over to yourself to walk us through your picks.
I know it is mind-blowing. I'm fairly sure maybe less than 2 seasons ago of FBL, Furish was about maybe 12 million odd, I think. But yeah, he's just kind of clicked, and it'll be music to your ears, Rory, but Stuttgart as a whole are clicking, even without some of their players away at AFCON and whatnot. And I just think he's been brilliant the last few games. He's been playing on the left wing there. And all three of their attack, including Demirovic coming back, have just been unstoppable at the moment. And I just think he looks really, really strong on the left. And I'd be surprised if he was to lose his place after 2 really solid games to start 2026. I think he got about 245 points against Frankfurt in the last game. an incredible amount of those points came from duels alone. So at the moment, he doesn't necessarily even need attacking returns. He's kind of getting stuck in all over the pitch, which I enjoy. And with El Canus out, it's kind of a slightly dangerous one, because if you go from, you probably can expect him to maybe lose a spot to El Canus going forward. But I think for this weekend, he should be fine with El Canus still at AFCON with Morocco. If I was to name a few other budget picks there, maybe Felix Metscher of Dortmund. I like his matchup against St. Pauli just because of possession-based statistics. And he has been pretty good in the last while. And maybe Wimmer, although he could be rotated for Wolfsburg. You never know. He didn't have the best of games there midweek. Moving into midfield, the kind of mid-priced options are slightly hard to pick from this week, but I've gone for Yohan Manzambi. I'm just a massive fan of this fella, even away from FBL reasons. He's just a fantastic player to watch at the moment. And it's no surprise he's getting linked with a lot of big clubs in Europe. He's the main man for Schuster's team at the moment. He did play the whole 2 full games in 2026 so far, so it's a lot of minutes in the legs, but I just think he's irreplaceable at the moment. I don't think they can play a game without him. And he can both play in a kind of a more holding creative role or out on the left. So he basically has multiple strings to his bow, whether it's creating or else attacking and taking shots on goal and creating shots. In his 4 of his last 6 games, he's hit about 200 points. He had 2 blips against Dortmund and Leipzig rather. But this weekend is a much better fixture for him against Augsburg, and it should be a pretty open game, I think, by and large. And then the premium option, again, another player I'm a massive fan of, and I know Runa is as well. Nadia Mamiri, he's just, again, another player that's just on. He's Mr. Mainz at the moment. 2 goals in his last 2 games, and if you caught the one against Heidenheim, it was just sweet as a nut. Just one of the best strikes of the weekend I've seen. A driving force behind the Mainz team at the moment, set piece involvements and whatnot. And Fischer's even occasionally employed him as like a kind of a second striker, playing in behind Tietz. They also kind of are short attacking options at the moment, with the likes of like Viper missing out as confirmed. So I think he could do pretty well there in that scenario. And Cologne are conceding a good few goals too. They've averaged about 2 per game over the last 4. So I reckon there should be a few goals in that game, or at least chances.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely been a drop off from a Cohen point of view, and chances for Amiri to benefit from that. Lovely stuff. I don't think there's any questions at the moment for midfielders. Again, no problem if you want to get them in whilst we move on to the next segment. That's absolutely fine, and we can come back to them with the interest of time. We will just move things forwards onto strikers then for mid-price, budget, mid-price and premium from Ultan, which are now on the screen for you all as well. So again, throwing it back to you, Ultan, to work your way through these 3 picks as well. And make sure you get your questions in whilst Ultan is hard at work.
Well, the first hard work comes with pronouncing the name. So Zenan Pejinovic is the man I've gone for with the Schnäppchen option this week. I think I've nailed that. Hopefully, I haven't offended. Even though he's Munich born, any Balkans present. He's been in fantastic form for Wolfsburg there, and amazingly, it's going to sound like a tall tale, but I remember when he got the hat trick against Freiburg, I was kind of thinking of getting him into my team. However, I never would have benefited from the hat trick because I would have played a 4-4-2, and he probably would have just rolled on the bench behind my 2 Bayern men, in Diaz and Kane. But I think he's just been really hit his stride there in the last while. 5 goals in 3 games kind of speaks for itself. Picked up a goal against Bayern as well, which is no mean feat in an 8-1 thrashing. Heidenheim are kind of leaking goals for fun too. They've let in 10 in the last 4, even before Christmas, and they look pretty shaky against Mainz as well. They didn't exactly fill you with confidence in defence. Pejinovic himself is averaging about 0.57 goals per game on the XG radar, so he kind of seems to be amongst the goals, and he's even kept kind of Amour out of his preferred striking position, forcing the Algerian out on the left, which only bodes well because Amour has got an equally good creative side to him, which only helps Pejinovic's goal output really. For the mid-price pick, I've gone with Kanazun. This one I would slightly err with caution, only because he's kind of recently come back from injury, but I made sure to check today that, Top Muller said he's trained perfectly all week, and when he's playing like that, you can't really go far from picking him. So I would expect him to start. He played 65 minutes against Dortmund and picked up about 176 points in that time, which is not bad going for 2/3 of the game. He obviously sat out midweek and didn't feature in Stuttgart, but at the same time, I think his chances of starting are pretty boosted because Mario Götze is also now ruled out for this game. And I think Frankfurt desperately need a 10. And MW18, the new winter signing, is also going to be ruled out for a considerable period of time. So I think Ozun should be in the kind of 10, or at least playing behind Kalimundo, who is also my kind of backup option there. And Bremen don't exactly look rock solid defensively either at the moment. They kind of put up a good showing against Dortmund, but eventually the kind of the pressure told. And then the premium option, it's the man himself. The bane of my existence when Dortmund played Stuttgart the last time, it's the hat-trick hero. Dennis Undav, yeah, it's hard to not pick this guy at the moment. I've gone from kind of not liking him at all to loving him, and definitely someone I'm thinking of getting in this week. 3 goals and 2 assists in his last 4 games. I think, if I'm right in saying, I saw a stat on Opta where he's been the highest scoring or highest goal return forward in the last like maybe 7 or 8 games in a league which includes Harry Kane. Isn't too bad going. So yeah, he's just on top at the moment. And if he's playing in the 10 or playing up front, it doesn't really matter. He'll either create or score or do a mix of the two. And he also has the great fixture run that Stuttgart have coming up, including like Gladbach, Pauli, Cologne, Heidenheim. So certainly a long-term option as well if you want that.
Yep, absolutely. Some great picks there. Thank you, Ultan. Like you say, Bundav absolutely flying, regardless of where he plays as well. Obviously, the return of Demirovic, Mom might have disturbed the form, but no, not at all. And Demirovic is quite a good enabler as well, I think, for someone like Undav, and I think they can play together quite well, which is benefits to all players. Lovely stuff. So I think we'll just pick up any questions that now come in. So got one here from Jeff to pick up. Again, don't be shy if there are anything questions on your mind, please do put them in, and we've still got a few minutes before the end of the show. So Jeff, just saying, kind of goes without saying, but are we ditching all Leipzig assets this match day because of the match that we have between Leipzig and Bayern? Ultan, this was the season's curtain raiser. It's back again this time around, which is obviously the reverse as we go into the Rückrunde. There's some good assets from a Leipzig point of view that people have been enjoying. Obviously, Romelu from a striking point of view, but he's just come back. He scored obviously midweek. Braum, etc. Diamande has just come back from AFCON. So I think, again, it'll kind of adds up to what Jeff is alluding to here.
Yeah, I completely agree. Definitely on paper, whenever your assets are playing against Bayern Munich, you're very kind of tempted to shift them out for fear of a drubbing. I don't think it'll be 6-0 again this time. But if I was to maybe keep one of them, I think Diamande is an option. Konrad Leimer picked up an injury today, a calf injury, which ruled him out for a few weeks. And on top of Stanisic and Boe not being available, and the fact that Diamande got a good rest during the midweek game, could speak to his advantage. He should have kind of fresh legs after AFCON. And obviously he's a fantastic dribbler and could really cause Bayern some problems. However, I do expect Bayern to win and probably put them away in the second half. So for that reason, maybe I'd avoid Raum unless you think he can do very well from duels. As for Baumgartner, this is going off the 3 kind of most popular options with Leipzig. I definitely think I'm going to get rid of him. I just think his performances tend to dip against the better teams in the league, your Dortmunds, your Leipzigs, or your Leverkusens, whatnot. And I think he might be one of the chopping block.
Yeah, completely agree with that. So hopefully that helps you in your decision making there, Jeff, and everyone else that might have Leipzig players to try and offload for this match week particularly. Lovely stuff. I think that probably covers things for this evening. No more questions are coming in, so we will round up there. So thank you everyone for tuning in, whether you've been watching live with us or subsequently. Naturally, if you have been just catching up, please do leave a comment. We'll pick them up in the comment section on YouTube and try to reply to you before the Friday night deadline. I can just see JC's come up with a question here, so as we have time, we'll answer it for you. And I think we've already half answered it, but again, just for clarity, Ultan, Diamande an option for this game week. In theory, yes, but obviously just to be aware of the fact that he is playing against, the mighty FCB.
Yeah, I think if you were to list off quick options that I'd probably prefer to him this week, probably the likes of Undav. But there's no reason he can't do well. I have him myself at the moment, and I would probably either consider playing him as the kind of bench option in a 4-4-2, or else getting him out for someone like Undav. So he's not an urgent sell, but I wouldn't be too keen on him against Bayern Munich.
Yeah, precisely that. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate that, and getting involved this evening, JC and Jeff, for those quality questions. You guys, the community that we have here, it's exactly why we enjoy doing what we do, and the great community that we have built up. So we'll close up, and all there really is to say is enjoy the next show where Ultan will be and I will not be. Mark is swapping in for me for predictions for match week 18. So make sure you stay on, enjoy with the lads, get some predictions and thoughts in for that. And good luck, everyone, for this match week, fantasy players alike, and hope you have a cracking one. So cheers, Ultan. Cheers, guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, all.